Hello everyone, good morning. I hope all of you are good and I am also fine. So today I will take one class from physics, that is fiction, for class 8. Okay. So many days, so many weeks I can able to upload video for all of you. That's why I am extremely sorry, because I have other channels, main channel, the Datta Institute in English, Datta Institute in Bangla, and YouTube, Facebook. Okay. And I am so little bit busy also for establishing my institute. That's why I am unable to upload all the videos regularly. So please excuse me. But I will upload regularly from next month, at least one video for 1 week. Okay, I committed you. That is, it may be class 6, it may be class 8, or it may be class 7. Okay, so today we will discuss about the fiction. Okay, so fiction is what, sir? Fiction is a force. So what is fiction? You have to know. Fiction is a force. This is the time to build your foundation. Okay, so you have to watch this video, or you have to study at your home or at tuitions by carefully and conceptually. Otherwise you have to face lots of troubles in your upper classes. Okay, so what is fiction? Fiction is a force. So fiction, we can say fiction is a force which always opposes the motion of a body. Or we can say fiction, what is fiction? We can say fiction is a force, that kind of force which always opposes the motion of a body. Okay, so in this lecture I will cover what is fiction, how many types of fiction, mathematical formula of fiction, okay, and what are the advantages of fiction, disadvantages of fiction, and what are the needs of fiction. So one video you will get lots of information, lots of knowledge. Okay, so let's start. So what is fiction? Fiction is a force which always opposes the motion of an object. So SI unit of fiction is what? SI unit of fiction is, sir, Newton, because fiction is a force. So we know that SI unit of fiction is also the SI unit of force, and SI unit of force is Newton. Okay, Newton. So CGS unit of fiction is what, sir? Is dyne, D-Y-N-E, dyne. Okay, fine. Now mathematically, how can I represent fiction? This part is in class 12. You will get in class 11. I will do this lecture is basically for foundation building. For what? NDA, UPSC, TPSC, NTSC, NEET, JEE foundations. Okay, that's why I am writing here for advanced class. This one is in class 11. What is fiction? I am trying to drawing one block. Suppose this one is one block, and mass of the block is, sir, M. Mass of the block is M, and here the weight of the block will be acting downward. That is, weight is mg. Mass into acceleration due to gravity is weight, is not it? This one is weight. Okay, and g is what, sir? G is acceleration due to gravity. And the value of it is 9.8 meter per second square in SI. Okay, in SI, you have to remember this one. Now if you applied one force here, if you push or pull, this one is F, that is applied force. Okay, this one is weight, and here it will be another force, that is reaction. This reaction, due to this reaction we can feel weight. I am staying on my floor, I am feeling my weight because of the reaction. If there is no reaction, then we can't feel my weight or our weights. So this one R is what, sir, here? Reaction. And here between the contact surface, this one is one block or one table, or it may be one ground. The block is staying on that floor. Okay, suppose this one is one floor of a building or of your classroom. This one is the one block, and between these two surfaces, that is the block and the floor touching surface is what? This one. In the touching surface of the block, suppose this one is my hand, and my hand is the floor of the building, of a building or of a classroom, and this one is I putting one block here. So if I try to push this one is fixed. If I try to push or pull this block here in the direction, then between the two contact surface, one force always opposes the motion of the body or block, and this force is acting in opposite direction, that is in the direction between the contact surface. Okay, and this force is known as, sir, frictional force. This force is known as frictional force. So frictional force will acting in that way. Okay, this one is frictional force. Okay, got my pen? So at equilibrium, so this, if this one is equilibrium position, equilibrium is equilibrium position, then we can say equilibrium position means there is no movement, all forces are equal. So this force is applied force, this one is frictional force. So according to the equilibrium condition, we can say frictional force is equal to what? Applied force is equal to frictional force, and here reaction is equal to weight, that is mg. You have to remember this one. This one is one formula. Okay, this one is one formula. So frictional force is F. Now if the body is moved towards, suppose if the body is moved here, and the displacement of the body is what? S. So in that direction, in that case, work done due to friction is what? Work done due to friction is what, sir? Due to friction will be W is equal to F into S, or small f into S. Okay, this one is frictional force. So work done is equal to force into distance. Work done equal to what? There is frictional force into distance. Frictional force into distance. Okay, now if the block is moving in the direction, if you move if you pull a trolley bag, that the direction of the force will be inclined, is not it? The direction of this one, I am applying the force in the horizontal direction, parallel to the horizontal direction. But if you pull a trolley bag for travel in Delhi or whatever it may be, so the trolley bag, the handle will be in that way, in that way, is not it? So in that case, the applied force will make some angle with the horizontal. So in that case, then the formula or frictional force will be changed. Okay, so this much clear. This one is friction is a force which always opposes the motion of a body. The SI unit of friction is N, and the CGS unit of friction is dyne, and it is denoted by F. Okay, friction, small f, frictional force or friction is denoted by what? Small f. Okay, so mathematically when you are in class 11, then you will get mathematical formula of friction. But since this one is advanced class for UPSC, NDA, NEET, JEE, so I am explaining right here. That is, you will get in 11th class, but 11th class formula I explain here for the advance of your study. So this one is one block, this one is applying force, this one is reaction, and this one is frictional force, and this one is what? From that we can write F equal to F, R equal to W, that is weight. So work done due to friction will be W equal to F into S. That is, F is what, sir? Small f into S. So work done due to friction will be frictional force into distance or displacement, you can say. Okay, this much clear. Now we have to find out the frictional force due to incline, when the frictional force applied in incline or applied force applying in inclined position. Now the types of friction. Okay, how many types of frictions in your class level? There is in class there are 3 types of frictions are there. That is a kinetic, static friction, rolling friction, and sliding friction. But there are 5 types of friction are there in your class 11. books. Okay, so I will explain all the 5 types of fiction. First one is static fiction. So what is static fiction? The fiction applied between two static objects. Okay, when fiction applied occurs between two static means rest, static bodies or rest bodies, static bodies or rest bodies. Okay, in that case the fiction will be static. Suppose this one is one table. In the table one book is there, 2 books is there. If you try to pull this book, then the fiction will be applied between the surface of the block and table. Okay, contact surface of the block. So here fiction will be F, and this fiction will be known as static fiction. Okay, this fiction will be known as such static fiction. Now second, kinetic fiction. This is not in your syllabus. Kinetic fiction, you will got this in class 11. You will got this in class 11. Okay, so what is kinetic fiction? When 2 bodies are moving in opposite direction or same direction, if there is any collision occurs between the 2 cars or 2 bodies, then in that this type of fiction will be known as kinetic fiction. Suppose when fiction occurs between the 2 moving bodies. Okay, when fiction occurs between 2 moving bodies, I am just writing the short note here, not from the books. As much as simple I writing here, just to understand what it is clearly. Okay, so when fiction occurs between 2 moving bodies called static fiction. Here called static fiction, and here it is called kinetic fiction. It is called kinetic fiction. Kinetic means moving, whose velocity does not 0. Kinetic means whose velocity does not 0. So this type of question, suppose one car is moving in that way, one body is moving in that way, and another body is moving in that way. So the collision occurs between the 2 bodies. The collision occurs between the 2 bodies, and the fiction is known as kinetic fiction. Okay. So third is sliding fiction. Okay, this one is in your syllabus. Sliding fiction. So what is sliding fiction, sir? The fiction occurs when a body slide over another body. Okay, over another body. Okay, you remember there are already something like that slider in park, in children parks. Okay, so when a person or when a student or children or kids moving in that way, then the fiction occurs between its back part and the slider is known as sliding fiction. Understood? Let me explain again. When a children or kids slide in that way, okay, the fiction occurs where? Between the slider and the back part of the children or kids. Okay, the fiction occurs between the slider and the back part of the children or kids is known as sliding fiction. Okay, next is fourth is what, sir? Fourth is ruling fiction. Okay, ruling fiction. So what is ruling fiction, sir? Ruling fiction, the fiction occurs due to the rotation of the body. The fiction occurs due to the rotation of the body. Okay, sir? Okay, so the friction occurs due to the rotation of 2 bodies, 2 or 1 bodies. Okay, can be 2 bodies or 1 bodies between of body was called rolling friction. When suppose the car of your father or the wheel of your cycle is moving in that way. Suppose this one is one road, this one is one road, sir, and the wheeling moving in that way. The friction occur between the road and the what? And the wheel of the cycle, or you may say scooter, bike and car, whatever it may be, but cycle is simple for all of you to understand. So the friction occur between the rotation or rolling of the wheel and between what? The roads. So there is, let me explain again, the friction occur between the rotation or rolling of cycle's wheel and the roads. This type of friction will be known as rolling friction. Okay, so these two are these three are in your syllabus, that is static friction, kinetic friction, sliding friction and rolling friction. So there is another type of friction, that is limiting friction. I am writing here. Okay, limiting friction. So what is limiting friction, sir? You will get in this one is in class 11. Okay, so limiting friction, this is the maximum value of friction for which a body tends to move position. A body comes in tends to move position. Suppose if I slide this board or the stand, it's not moving. If I gradually increase the force applied on the stand, then it will increase its force. If I increase the applied force, then the friction force already increases, and there will be certain time. If I increase a small amount of applied force, then the body or this whole system will tend to move position. Then the board system will be come in a position just tends to move. This friction is, this maximum value of force is known as limiting friction. It is the maximum value of a friction due to which a body just tries to or tends to move. If it is not visible to you, please take a screenshot and write it down. Okay, so what is the limiting friction? So limiting friction not in your syllabus first of all, and if you know what is try to know what is limiting friction, then it is the maximum value of friction due to which a body is in a position or in a state just tends to move. And this type of friction maximum value, it is the maximum value. This type of friction is known as limiting friction. You can say in that way, the pass mark of your class, any subjects of physics or science is 30. So if a student got 30 marks, then it is clear to him